Hey, Hal here. I want to talk a little bit about our partnership with OnX Hunt. I've been using it for a while now, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm not a very techie person, but the OnX app is it's a real time saver. I remember the days when we poured over topo maps everywhere we was going to go and stuff, and I don't do that quite as much anymore. Where it's really helped me is scouting, whether it's deer scouting, or moose, or even turkey hunting in the spring, which I do. It really helps out. I don't have to spend as much time running around the truck burning up the gas. I'm just basically using my OnX. Got it on my phone. Don't even carry a GPS anymore. So I just download the areas where I'm going to be hunting, whether it's up north moose hunting, and I use it mostly on the satellite imagery. I like to see the cuts and the clearings and the turkey hunting, the hidden fields and stuff. But everybody's using it now, from the game wardens to land surveyors, and just a great tool. And with our partnership with OnX, if you use a code BWB, you're going to receive 20% off on your first premium or elite memberships. And you just go to onxmaps.com/hunt. You'll be glad you did. Good luck on the trail.
This is the Big Woods Bucks Podcast. Come explore the big woods and timber in North America with your host, Maine Master Guide and deer tracking expert Hal Blood. Listen to Hal and co-hosts Lee Libby and Joe Cruzy as they unlock the secrets of big woods whitetails. Each episode will provide valuable insights into the tried and true system Hal has used for the last 40 years to scout, locate, and hunt mature big woods bucks. Listen and laugh as the crew discusses Hal's legendary adventures and learn how to apply a lifetime's worth of lessons from the big woods to your own hunting and outdoor adventures.
Welcome to the Big Woods Bucks Podcast. I'm your host, Hal Blood. Sitting down here at Pile and Lodge, just finishing up our flank steak supper. Joe's here.
Hello.
And Mark Shireen's here.
Hello.
All the way from New York.
Yep.
Killed a buck
Yep.
this week.
It was fun.
Yep. Speak up, Mark. Can't hear you very good.
Said it was fun.
Yeah. We've had a good week. So we got a report on the last 2 weeks, though, don't we, Joe?
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, we had all that. We had a lot of action the first 2 weeks there on the bare ground, and then the snow was timely. It came in on, some of it came higher up on Monday. We got a shot of it.
Yeah, Sunday night it came in, right? And we had it for Monday morning.
Yeah, it wasn't down low. It was a little sketchy, but up in the higher elevations, it was 2-3 inches anyways.
Yeah.
And way up even a little bit more.
We've pretty much had good snow since then. I mean, you could always find good snow.
Yeah, it
Hasn't got crunchy. And
it's been good. I mean, I don't know as I remember getting through basically 2 weeks of good snow conditions, We've had some dust ups, to freshen things up. And we had a little warm, a few showers, a little warm today. We'll see what it's going to do for muzzleloader next week. But
yeah, so we got one more day tomorrow. We're recording this on Friday, so.
Yep, we got 1 day. Yep, 1 day to go, and we'll have muzzleloader season.
It's been a good season. I mean, for clients and for everyone. But I mean, there was some more action today, wasn't there? I didn't get the details, but I heard something going on.
We got to back up a little bit. I got to cry in my beer a little bit here first.
Oh, yeah. You got a couple stories, don't you?
Well, I got one that's one of them ones that always haunt you forever, Mm-hmm. So I got done guiding Saturday night, and for some reason that night, it wasn't my client I got it from. My wife had like a stomach flu, and I finally got it, and it came down Saturday night, and by Monday morning I was not doing very good.
Oof.
So it was only coming out one end, but that was bad enough. And so anyways, I got going in the morning there. I was pretty weak feeling anyways, but we had some snow, so I had to get out there, and I got thinking about where to go, and because the season is early, so the beginning of the third week, it still wasn't any rut going on yet or anything. I knew they'd be looking, but there weren't going to be anything going on because I think it was the 12th or something like that.
Right.
Something like that. But anyways, there's a place I know up on one of the mountains there that there's usually some does up high, and it's a place that bucks just seem to end up crossing through there. I always track one through there or catch a track there or something. I said, I'm going to go try that. It's a long walk. It's about a 3-mile walk to get up in there, and I just about could do it. Poke along, stop, poke along and stop. And finally I got way up in there. It's way up in the mountain behind all the cuts and everything. And I'd hit a couple of tracks because it snowed in the night, and it was still spitting up in the mountains. It was still spitting snow. And there was a few does, a small buck track, and then all of a sudden I kept going up, and I cut a nice big buck track, the one I was looking for. And it wasn't that old because, like I said, it was still snowing, and it was just, like a few flakes in it. It's a little bit frozen where it was cold, but it was just barely froze a little bit of scun when he got in the water there. So I said, well, first thing, this is pretty good. So he was checking those does, but he wasn't chasing anything. There was no chasing. A doe would run maybe a little bit, but he would just walk down after him and then turn around, come back. And he kept ziggy-zagging along the side of the mountain there. And finally nature called again for the second time. And so I shed all my clothes. That's pretty difficult with the stomach flu. I got to get my jacket off. Well, I had this, I think I sent when they was making the patterns for the new clothing, I think I ended up sending one of my jackets in my good orange vest. I had another orange vest that's like faded right completely out.
Yep.
So I had my jacket, but I didn't have a vest, so I dug out just a regular little light polar fleece one there. Well, the buckle, it's one of the little buckles on it, but one side of the buckle was gone. So I had to tie it, I had to stick it through the thing and put a half hitch in it.
Going
really
ratchet.
Nice. Well, that just ties into when I had to go. So I had to get that undone.
Very fast.
Where have these podcasts gone to?
Get my jacket unzipped, take my jacket off. I got to unhook my bino strap. I got that optic belt thing. I got to unsnap that, get that off, get my binoculars off, get my suspenders down, get my belt undone. The whole routine. Well, I didn't make it in time.
Oh.
So, anyways, took care of that. About a pack of baby wipes later. So I get going again, and I didn't go 30 yards, and it's like it's a ravine up there. There's a bunch of them in the mountains. It's like they almost look like a little meadow. They got grass in them and ferns, and that's where the feed is, Sure. And I'd been watching there, but I get out into that. The buck walks out into that. It's only like 40 yards wide, and it runs up there maybe 75 yards. And I looked over to the left by the wood line, and I can see a track that looks kicked up pretty fresh there. I walk over and I look. There ain't a flake of snow in it, and I stick my finger in it, and it's like soft. I start looking around. I'm like, this thing is right here. It's the big track, I'm like, holy smokes. So I look up, and then I could see it had made a few bounds there, and I'm like, I look back to where I was. I'm like, there's no way I spooked this thing, because I was moving slow anyways. I was kind of weak, so I wasn't moving fast at all, just going easy. I said, it's something else going on. I moved up there on his track, and I could see there was a doe in that little clearing, and she must have ran, and he went after her there, and they ran up on this little spruce knoll that was like open spruce, you know. And when he did, he went by his bed. So what this buck had done is he'd gone up there and laid down. And the doe, he either saw it, he was just up in there on the little knoll. He either saw that doe or smelt her, but he came down, and that's why his track was fresh. But the bed was a foot longer than my rifle and almost as wide.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
it was,
big boy.
It was
Yep.
huge. I'm like, man. So they're running. He ran right by his bed. And she was off to the right. So I started along on it. And they went up a little higher. Just kept, they weren't running. He wasn't like chasing her. He's like running like behind her or something, you know, just kind of lobbing along there. They went probably not that far, 200-300 yards. She splits right, he splits left. He's on his own, and he's just started walking up. It's pretty steep there, but pretty open, you know, pretty nice going, really. So I'm going up there, easy, taking a step, looking, taking a step, looking. And there's a top of a fir tree that broke off, you know, they do in the wind a lot up high, and looks like a blowdown, but it ain't the whole tree. And evidently, just the way the buck had gone and the way I was on his track, that was cover. He couldn't see me, and I couldn't see him. And I mean, as open as it was, that was just enough cover. And finally, he was going like right at it. And then when I got to the point where I was getting by it, I had to keep looking down and placing my feet because it was slippery. You know, that new snow was on the ground had been warm because remember it had rained.
Right,
it rained all day Sunday, and then it turned into snow, so everything was really slippery. So anyways, I look down, I take a step, I look back up, and the buck is running right straight away from me, like right up like a bowling alley lane. And there ain't even a limb or a twig in the way. It's perfectly open. And he's only, when I looked up, he was like 30 yards. And going.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Close.
Dead.
And, yeah, I had him already tagged before I even started swinging the gun. I go, I got you. I swung the gun up, and I just swung on, just brought it up and swung right onto his ass end. He was going dead straight away. I mean, this is a chip shot. His ass end looked about 2 feet wide, and had heavy horns outside his ears. I don't know how I remember all this, and it happened in about a split second, but I got the picture as I was swinging up. And I was just going to pull the trigger. I just got it there, and my foot went out from under me, and because I slipped back, and the bead came right off in him, and the time I got recovered there, I could just see flicks of him going. I was sick.
Yeah.
I was sick. And I said to myself right then, I said, I hope this ain't my last chance for the year, because it was a good chance right there, you know.
Yeah.
It was sick because, you know, when they're that big, too, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough to find, much less shoot at.
I always say you got to get on the right one at the right time and whatever, and I did. I gommed up there, and I just happened to get right into it. Just, you know, that's the luck of finding the tracks. But so anyways, like an idiot, I think it was like about 10 o'clock then. Sat down, had my sandwich, and I chased him the rest of the day. He never stopped. He wasn't spooked from me. He didn't barely even ran. He kind of, before he even got out of sight, he was just trotting. Then he'd take a few bounds, but he just decided the other side of the mountain, I guess there was some does he wanted to check, and like an idiot, I followed him. I should have known better, because I think that's what got my knees going anyways, but I stomped out of there later in the day.
Well, he went all the way. Didn't you say he went all the way down the backside, then back up it?
No, just went over it. Went up and over.
Oh, okay. I thought.
No, then I was on the other side, and I ended up. I made out pretty good because I hit an old road I could come out on, but I quit on him at 2. He was headed east. The truck was west, and I was 3 miles, I guess, from the truck.
And you were sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I said, I hope I can make it out of here because I wasn't feeling very good. I had to take the next day off. That's how bad I couldn't get up the next morning. That's painful for me not be able to go out for a day.
Yeah. Good snow and good time and
but I was hurt pretty bad there, and then I took my grandson, and then Jason come up to film for a few days, and we got on a couple there, but it's just I'm realizing it's just so hard with two people, and so
you do. Of course, you usually see it guiding where it's hard enough to get through the woods and not snap one twig.
Yeah.
Because you can go along quiet for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever, and not make a sound. But it always seems like when you're in the quietest spot where you think you might jump them and you step on a fir limb or something, a branch on the ground and snap it.
I never really thought about that with guiding because I don't do that. So you got two guys so automatically you're in a deficit
Just
situation.
ask Stephen White over there. I glare at him every once in a while. Well, and I'm not innocent either. I mean, everyone breaks sticks,
Yeah.
But for some reason, I always blame it on whoever's behind me.
Well, I just tell people it's not twice as hard; it's 4 times as hard. To do something with two people, and I mean, I can slip along the woods pretty good because I've just done it enough. And when you're younger, a lot of times you don't realize it, that everything you look at in the woods there's something to snap. You learn where to step and how to step to avoid most of it. Nobody can avoid all of it.
Right.
But I can move pretty fast quietly, but not very many people can. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Anybody can move quietly if they go slow, but sometimes you can't go slow. You got to move and be quiet. So,
yeah, it's kind of a fluid thing. You go through and you're turning and twisting, and
you sway. You sway.
And especially for some reason, I found myself in fir trees a lot this year. Not necessarily young firs where you're on, hitting live branches, but like the fir stands where you can walk through and you can see, but all the little dead limbs are hanging out, and those are the worst to get through, especially in these cold mornings.
Well, you're a big dude though, too.
Yeah,
so you're a big guy.
It makes it a little bit. Yeah.
Plus, in those, you got half of the dead firs are laying on the ground to step on too.
Yeah, you're always looking down, and any kind of imprint where you think that there's something, a branch or something underneath, you always try to avoid those. And
I always tell people, like my running joke is with the guys is step on the high spots. When you're around the water, you always got to step on high points because if you don't, you go right up to your knees in them muck holes, But when you're in the woods on the high ground, don't step on the high spots. That's something that's going to break.
Yeah.
I went with Steve today. I went with him today. I'm going to go again tomorrow, but we were going through some bogs today, and I went through one. I broke through, and it kind of surprised me. It looked like it was good solid ground, so I broke through with both. I took one step, and then when I went to try to catch myself, I went through on both of them, but I was able. I probably looked like a moose trying to get unstuck from the mud coming out of there. So I said, "Don't follow me." Well, he went right next to me, and he went even deeper. He went up to his thigh. Jeez. It's pretty funny.
It's when you're crawling.
But, it was a mess, but there was some deer in there.
So did you tell your story yet on a podcast about your buck?
No, we haven't got to that yet.
No.
Okay. So that
we
was
haven't got anywhere.
3rd week in the snow.
Yeah, what was – I'm trying to think back who else, because we had quite a few deer in the poll that week. On 3rd week.
3rd week, yeah. I can't think of the days blow by.
They were client deer.
Yeah.
Clients deer.
Yeah. And I think they continued with some misses and mishaps, but quite a few passed up. Everybody's been seeing deer. a lot more deer than usual.
For sure, this is since we started doing, since Big Woods has been running out of here, this is what has definitely been the best 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
That we've had.
Yeah, well, I say it's the
unreal.
best season because I never seen a first week like we had.
Well, that's true, yeah. I mean, that's right. Thinking back to Ben's week and all that.
We've had a really good season, I think.
And
it's going to be a hard one to top. But
and Ben got his deer. He went up north with some buddies, and they did really well up there.
Yeah.
That was last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, we'd have to add up all the guys. I think seems like most of the team members have killed a buck now.
Yeah.
Yep, Nick's killed 2 or 3, and 2.
Brandon Silvestri got one.
New Hampshire, Nick did New Hampshire and Maine, right?
Neil's got one.
Glenn.
Rick.
Roger.
You, Joe, Mark.
Bo.
Oh, Bo got one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Bo got a deer. I know.
He's secret agent, man.
That's what
I know. Well, I was thinking of him the other day. I was like, geez, he hadn't been around at all.
Yeah. We were asking the same thing.
When he don't shoot a one over 200, he's quiet about it.
Yeah.
But
I see around here.
I see it on the board. I don't know, but I see it on the board down to Bishop's there.
Okay.
But I haven't got his story yet, so we can't tell the story about where he got it or anything. So.
Yep.
So this week, Mark, you shot yours the first day.
Yeah.
And
me and Wes. I tried to.
But how many do we have on the pole the first day? 4, right?
Yeah.
3?
3, I think. Mine, yours.
Yeah, there was another one. Bob. Steve's nephew, Bob.
Yeah.
Shot one.
And then Leah's husband.
Yeah, Braden shot one that day. That's right. Jeez, I almost forgot about Braden.
There was 4.
Yeah, I thought there was. I come rolling in.
Sorry,
supper.
Braden. My son-in-law.
Yeah.
Which actually, and we'll talk about that later because that was actually really cool how that whole day happened. But anyway, we can.
Go ahead, Mark. You're up.
Well, I was sick for the first 2 weeks of the season, so I think I hunted one day. I had a really bad head cold. So I let myself recover. I just went to work, and I got here in a good headspace. And a friend of mine who I'd never really hunted with before, I just met him over the phone. We were talking. His name is Wes LeVar from the Adirondacks. I said, I want a camera guy, and he's never been a camera guy. I don't know anything about doing a film. I really don't. I've self-filmed stuff. And but I knew it was going to be hard to do. So I said to Wes, I said, listen, we can do this a couple ways. We're just going to go up into some new territory. And first buck we get on, give it a shot. Or what's going to happen is I'm probably going to pass by a bigger buck and want to go on that track. And that's basically what happened. But anyway, so we got started, and I caught up with the buck pretty quick. I would say within 2 hours, 3-4 miles, huffing it, trying to catch up from the night. And it was nice because Wes is a really good hunter, and he was quiet, and he was good with the camera. So I told him, I said, I do things third gear, second gear, first gear, death creep. And I said, I'll put up 3 fingers, we're going to hustle, third gear, second gear, first gear. And I could just tell I said, we're going in first gear through here after a few miles. So he's going to be right up here before that clear cut up there. And what was nice was as I was looking down at the track, you don't realize how much you look down and up, down and up, down and up, and how much of a delay there is there when you're trying to catch up, because Wes would see the deer really quick because he was behind me just looking up.
Right.
And he's like, he's right there, And unfortunately, I saw him in some pretty tight spruce, but Wes got all the shots on camera, all 5, all 5 misses, and stuff is flying everywhere. But it's going to be a cool scene for people to see. And then later, the next time, I bumped a buck and a doe, a big one, and I said, I really want to take this. And he looked at me and he goes, do you? I said, yeah, I'd rather take a big buck than. And he goes, why don't we just finish what we started? There's a story here. And I said, okay. Now, when you guys know, when you have a really small buck, this buck ended up only being 120 pounds. He's got a good rack for his size, but he's a young guy. It's tough when you get into deer to keep track of that. And so I had to really figure tracks out when we got into does and stuff. It took a long time. And I caught up with him again. Wes saw him. I had a tree in front of me, and then I said, listen, we're going down into first gear and then death creep because I'm going to get this guy in about 300 yards. Because I just knew. You do it enough, you just know. And that's what happened. I looked to the left, got up on top of the mountain, I looked to the left, and he was in a nice aisleway, and I'm watching the buck just kind of get settled into his bed. He didn't have time to look at his backtrack. He was just kind of wallowing in there, and I put one in him, and then he jumped up. I always put an extra shot in, and that was that. And Wes was super excited, which amped me up, and we kind of had a little party, and that was that. So it was a good hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good first day hunt.
Yeah. Took the pressure off, and I could spend the rest of the week with my son, which we've been having a blast.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. When did you get yours, Joe?
I got mine on Monday.
Oh, you got yours that day too?
Yeah.
Oh, yours was on. That's right.
Yeah. But
big deer, little deer.
So the week before was really good. Friday I had an awesome day. You don't always have to kill a deer to have a great day in the woods.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And so I cut a track. I cut a track on Friday morning. Before I found it out of the truck half hour before daylight. So I just parked there and waited for it to get light and started on him as soon as I could. And I tracked him. It was like 12 and a half miles that day. And it was in a familiar area. And if I could have teleported myself ahead of the deer, I could have killed him 5 times just because it was one of those ones I knew where he was going. In fact, it made me wonder if it's a deer I tracked before in previous years because it was all the same. And I know they all, a lot of times they use the same, the same travel quarters and stuff. But this one, it was unbelievable how similar it was to a track that
It's probably the same one.
I've taken before.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't, I jumped him. So I guess this relates to the story where I killed my deer too. So I have to tell this part. So we've been with Big Woods. We're trying to get more content, and everyone's carrying cameras, and so I bought this GoPro, and I'm doing the whole get out of the truck and start telling the story. All right, I got this track and blah blah blah, and I personally, it doesn't matter to me. I like watching the content. I always have, especially tracking content. But it's always it's not the effort involved. It's the idea that sometimes with hunting, it's just you're out there to track a deer. It's just something you do on your own, and it doesn't really matter to me if anyone watches it or not, And so, but I'm doing it.
But it matters to them.
I know, but who am I hunting for? And so it's just my personal thing. I know that I'm not against it, but it's a distraction, number one. And that's part of the story is where I got really frustrated with it is I go in and this buck was textbook, like, checking does. He'd follow a track. He would follow it for a little bit. Then he would, nothing there, go off, go to the next one. And I thought I was going to, my feeling that morning was when I first took that track is I am killing this deer today. I had the whole entire day. Conditions were fantastic. It was quiet snow. So anyway, he had gone in and he was he had done it a couple times already where he was going checking doe beds and stuff, and in this one bed he had pushed the doe out of it, and she took off running. So I looked around and everything, and was pretty confident that there was nothing around. And I pulled the little camera out, and I'm doing my little, this buck came and pushed this doe out of its bed. And while I'm doing this, I hear going. Well, that buck was bedded, 20 yards on the other side of this, these spruce trees there, while I'm sitting there dicking around talking to the camera. And I there's probably some pretty funny footage because I was
not happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, what am I doing here? All this work and effort, and I blow it potentially blow it because I'm trying to get this footage. So anyway, I kept after him, and what was fun about this deer is he didn't care about me being behind him. He cared about the does. He would run for, not very far. He might run for 300 yards or something, and then he would just start slowing down and walking, and his mind was off me, and he's back to the does again. And that's the best scenario you can find, with a deer when he's preoccupied. And I was really, a couple of times, I thought that he was going to hook up with a doe. He would stay with her long enough where I thought, oh, he's got one he likes, and then he would peel off and go looking for another one. And I felt like if he would have found a doe, it was, that would have been the best opportunity. So anyway, I ended up, he went up one of the mountains, and this is where I felt like I was after a deer I'd been on before, because he went up this steep section, and it's like, hand over hand climbing up this steep. Like you could see, which is always cool to me too, when you see bucks when they're going up or down steep sections, and you can just picture them, just motoring up there, lunging, and the stuff's falling down behind him and everything, but he wasn't going up there because he was spooked for me. It's just where he goes. And so he went up on the mountain, and I ended up jumping him out of his bed up there. And I really, with the conditions that we had up there and everything, I thought I was probably going to kill him up there because of what he had done before and where he'd gone. So I think it was 3 times I jumped him that day, and I took his track. And the last time I jumped him, he did not slow down. He had enough, and he ran for a long ways. And so I went till like 4:15, called for a ride, and I was quite a ways from where I had taken him. So I got a ride, and they got my truck out that night. But I would say it was probably one of the best days of tracking I've ever had. Just everything you want a day. You don't get cut off. You go from dark to dark. Obviously, you want to kill a deer, but anyone that goes out and tracks knows we're not just out there for that. You're out there for that experience. And I think what made it so good is that from the minute I got on the track to the minute I left it, I felt like I was in the game the entire day. There was not a time where right. I never had a point during the day where I had to spend 45 minutes working the track out where he was around and around with does, nothing like that. It was just a chase the whole day. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, I got back, and I was like, man, that was fun. I remember coming back that night, and it was just, and pumped up for the next day. But I could only hunt the morning the next day. So I went back south. I went home, but Braden had stayed up here, my son-in-law, and he was tracking, and I got a call from Rick, and like usual, he's all out of breath. Jesus, Joe. Jesus, I got a big one down here. He's one of the best ones I ever shot. Think he's going to go 240, and he goes, where are you at? I need help dragging him out. And I said, well, I'm in Skowhegan. And so I said, hold on, let me get – I said, Braden just called me and said he's heading south. And I asked him where he's at, where Rick was at. And I got a hold of Braden. He was literally 5 minutes from the road where Rick needed them to turn in on. So I got them connected. So
that's what family is for.
Yeah, so Braden and Rick get connected. So Braden goes in and helps him drag his deer out. And Braden had passed up a doe earlier, or not a doe, a spike earlier in the day that he was on. He knew it was a young buck, but he was going to see what it had for antlers, and it was a spike, so he didn't kill it. And he texted me and he said, I think I might kill a spike next time after dragging that one out. He said it was
Yeah.
They had a little job, and it wasn't even that far of a drag. So Rick shot a beautiful buck, which I'm sure. Well, I think there's even a video up already about it, but
No, there won't be no video yet.
yeah,
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, it is?
yep, yeah.
They posted it.
And so anyway, they got out that night, and it was beautiful buck and everything. And so Monday, I went out, and Monday was nice. It was cold. It was actually a little bit too well. The cold made it a little bit crunchy underneath.
Yeah, it did.
It wasn't.
It was tough.
It wasn't like an ideal tracking day in that regards, just because it was a little bit noisy. But it was good snow, powdery, and everything. So I was taking a ride. It was, maybe an hour before it got light, and so I was going down one of the roads here, and there was a track crossing that looked pretty fresh, and I was getting ready to take it, but it was heading downhill, and I knew there was another road down below. I said, well, I'll drive down there. I got all kinds of time. I'll drive down and make sure that it hasn't gone across, didn't cross that road. So I go down there, and I came to a place where there was all kinds of deer back and forth going both directions, and there was a couple good bucks there that were with the does and running around, and I mean it was a mess. I probably found that 20 or 30 minutes before daylight, and it took me that long to decide where I wanted to go, because I took one of the tracks right there at first light. I said, well, I'll take this and go uphill. I was just trying really to go in the direction that the most deer were heading and where one of those bucks was going. So I took the one buck track, and it went and it did a loop, and it came back around, and not very long, and was back out to the road again. Well, I said, I guess I'll go the other way and check one of those tracks. Well, when I got in there a little ways, like not far off the road, I noticed it was jumping, like it was running, and I wasn't sure if I spooked it when I came pulling up and it was right there and took off, or if it was just running does and chasing. So I started following that one, and it was a really good place to shoot a deer because you could see, which in the area that I was in, that's not real common. There's a lot of thick stuff where you really can't see too far, and but there was a lot of little knobs and everything. So he would go up over, and and then you kind of peek up over and look, and it's always fun. I mean, anyone that tracks, knows how you get into those spots like that where every little rise you go over, you can kind of peek up over and look, and every time you think he's going to be right there, but I just kept doing that, just easing along on it, and it wasn't like a real easy track to follow, because there was so many other tracks mixed in, so it was taking me a little bit of time when I get to some spots, and I'd do a little circle and pick it back up again. But then I got to where I started getting into a lot of sign. There was a lot of scrapes, and I think I had like 3 scrapes within 100 yards. They were good scrapes, and so I felt like I was right there with them, and because it was not super quiet, I was going real easy, just going slow and looking, and so I started grunting a little bit. I'd grunt and go a little bit and grunt, and so I just I kind of just kept that up, and I came to the last scrape, and I ended up I had to loop around a little bit and do a couple of circles to pick his track back up, because he had dubbed around there some and, went around and walked and did some check and does and stuff. So, I was just easing along the track, and I'd stopped and I'd grunted, and I had my can with me, so I doe bleeded along with the grunt. I waited for a minute, and I just started going again, and I caught him coming back, and he was coming right back up the back track. But I never did go look to see if he was there and stopped and came back, or if he was just coming that way anyway. But I picked him up. He was probably 40 yards or maybe a little more and coming to me, and I just let him keep coming and had my gun on him, and he got to probably 15 yards.
Oh.
And this is where, and this thought crossed my mind too, especially because all the stuff I had with the camera on Friday. When I got out of the truck that morning, I was getting all my gear on, and I looked down at the camera and I said, I'm not taking a camera. I don't care. If I kill one, I kill one, and it's not on camera, I don't care. And so I left the camera in the truck, and that was one of the first, when he's walking toward me, because it was quite a sight. Anytime you have a deer coming in like that, it's always fun, and so he got to about 15 yards, and he came around a fir tree and finally noticed me. He looked up, and it was that, anyone that's ever seen it before, it was that shock where he popped back and looked up, but it was only a split second because I pulled the trigger right when he jerked his head back.
Hit him in the chest?
Yeah, hit him in the chest, and he dropped right there. That was it. He was dead right there. But, it's when you focus on all that stuff that I've never really focused on before, with getting footage and all that, you're thinking, that would have been great. But, and I understand the content thing. I understand stuff on the YouTube channel and all that, and I know everyone likes watching it. But for me, it's just I can tell the story on the podcast, and to me, it's something that's just, I'm out there doing it. And if I'm with someone else, and like I was with Steve today, I took my camera. If we can get some cool stuff following him or whatever, and he wants to, that's great. But it was just, sometimes it's just cool to have it as your memory, and you're out there, and that's all it's about. And
sure, take it to the grave with you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, you don't take it to your grave. You can talk about it. You can tell it.
No, I know.
It's just everyone, I guess.
I used to, when I first started filming myself, I was always wondering, I'm like, I got to get going. This is costing me time. It's all I could think about was I'm filming, and I'm thinking, geez, I got to get going. And what I realized after a while is none of it matters, because you're going to catch up when you're going to catch up, and you can't control that.
That is such a good point.
It might help you to kill them.
That's exactly right.
The camera might help.
It does.
More often than not, it does, I think, because you can never control when the 2 points connect. There's nothing you can do. There's things you can try to do, like especially when you're right behind him, and the track is minutes old or 10 minutes old. You can move at a certain pace there, but still you have to catch up in the right place.
But it's not for me, I guess it's not as much about that as I'm just like, well, who wants to watch this anyway? And I'm probably wrong on that.
Yeah,
but that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, you are wrong on that.
It's funny because
I don't like, who wants to watch me hunt. Like that's how I look at it, and I'm like, I love what I'm doing out here.
I know.
I'm enjoying it.
I get that. I do. I get that. And some people just are uncomfortable with the whole process. I was very uncomfortable with it.
Hey, Hal here. Just wanted to tell you we're excited about our partnership with Minus 33. Minus 33 specialized merino wool base layers for outdoor enthusiasts, from tops and bottoms to hats, socks, gloves. And our gear is going to keep you warm and comfortable no matter what adventure you're on, especially those big woods ones. We're a fifth-generation family, owned and operated, a New Hampshire woolen textile manufacturer. They have over 106 years of woolen expertise, and they started manufacturing woolen socks, the Mountain Heritage ones, in New Hampshire in 2018, with the idea that a quality product, affordable pricing, and can be worn and loved from season to season, no matter what your experience level or skill is, so no one should feel uncomfortable or ill-prepared in the outdoor community. Having a reliable gear is one of the first steps towards a lifetime of passion or whatever activity it is. And my caveat to that is you got to wear your woolies. Cotton is death. Hey everyone, Hal here. Hey, we got another sponsor here we want to talk to you about, and it's another company looking for good employees, and it's a good opportunity if anybody wants to move west. It's a company that has lumber mills and stuff out in Wyoming, and so I guess the benefit of that would be there's like over 1 million acres of public land for hunting, fishing, doing all that stuff, and they got competitive wages, free health care and dental premiums to employees and their families, 401ks, company match, $2,000 sign-on bonus, and up to $5,000 in relocation. That's a good deal. Yeah, it's a family-owned and operated company, 80-plus years of business in the Black Hills of Wyoming there. It's Spearfish Forest Products is a division of Neiman Enterprises. So this sounds like a great opportunity if anybody's looking to change careers or just change locations and get some help and benefits doing it. So your contact information is someone I know. Actually, it's John Fennelson, and he's actually from Maine, and he made the move out there to take charge of the mills there. He's the head of the HR out there, I guess. So, but anyways, it's John Fennelson, and his number is 307-760-7907, or you can email john.fennelson, and it's FENLASON at Neiman, NEIMAN.com. So if you got any questions, you want to talk to John about that, email him or give him a call.
Hi, everyone. Team member Mark Sheeran here. Listen, everybody's been asking why we switched to the Skinner peep sights this year. And there's a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, the owner of Skinner Sights, Andy Larson, was willing to collaborate with us to build the best ghost sight for tracking on the market. And he took our input and really put it into practice. And the aperture, the ghost ring itself is thinner, so it allows more light in. It's all steel construction. It's got a lifetime warranty, and it's also a very elegant sight. So there are some other features as well. The ghost sight itself is dovetailed into the body of the sight, which makes it really, really sturdy, and it can't fall out of adjustment. And between that and the fact that it's all steel, and the peep sight is optimized for the tracker and the still hunter, it's an amazing sight. So you can go on to bigwoodsbucks.com and get your BWB Tracker Series peep sight today. All right, good luck on the hunt. I have a quick story, though. I got to digress. So you were talking about the camera and stuff, and then the buck takes off, right? So I was tracking this buck through crunchy snow, just patches of crunchy snow, and this is probably 10 years ago. Coming up by a pond, and I said to myself, this buck is right in front of me, because I could see where that morning it's just pockmarked with like crystallized crunchy snow, you know? And the crystals hadn't frozen onto the ice yet, because they'll glue themselves, you know? And I said, he's right here. And I convinced myself there's no way in hell a wilderness buck isn't going to like see me plodding along, crunchy guy, right? And just take off, or he's probably over the next mountain by now. So I'm going up this pass, and I look and I see where he made a rub. So I take out a camera. This is like one of the very first times. I mean, I don't even know if I think I did it on like a camera. And I'm taking a picture. I get the picture done. I pack it all together. I got a picture of the buck looking at me. The buck is right over here. There's a stump, a log, and he's looking at me. I got it in the picture. I'm so busy taking the picture that by the time I get my back, I take one step, he's like, boom. And then I get the film, and it's in my book. There's a picture, and I go, there he is, right there. And you can see him looking at me. So I got a picture of a buck watching me take a picture.
Yeah, and, I definitely understand. Like, when I first started tracking, I could not get enough of the Benoit videos. I wanted everything they put out I got. Because I would watch those and I would say, those are the only guys that are doing that are capturing what it's like to be out there, and so I get the value in it. I'm not saying that I don't think it's good and I don't think film and all that. It's just that for me personally, I felt like it was a distraction from what I was doing. And,
right, I get it.
And
I get it.
And so, anyway, it was it was a fun day anyway. That was at 7:15 that I shot him. And so I had the whole day to enjoy it. It was like an hour after daylight, and it was
It's always nice getting them early. You don't have to worry about scrambling to get them out.
Well, the other next really good part was I pulled out my Onyx, and I looked at it, and there was a road that I could get my truck in within 200 yards.
Jesus.
Of where he was. So
that's not fair.
It wasn't, but hey, sometimes life's not fair, Hal.
Yeah,
I'll take it. But it was, and I also another thing, and I had my phone with me, so I took some little snippets there right after I killed him, and I thought, which, you've killed a lot of deer over 200, so judging them, you can look at. I looked at it and I was like. Yeah, maybe 180.
You suck at judging them.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll sleep all right tonight.
Then Rick's the other way. He thought his was 240.
Yeah, and it was 210. Yeah. So I thought it was 180. It was 205, and had a real nice rack.
Yeah.
Real happy with
it.
Kind
of unique rack.
Yeah, it's got crab claws on the G2s.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool.
But anyway, so to finish that day, so it was so Braden's dad, Dennis, he had killed a beautiful buck. I think the rack's like in the 160s. He had shot one the week before, so he was up here just dubbing around and doing a little bird hunting and stuff, and while Braden was out hunting. So when I got back here, I was able to get a hold of him, and he went to the tag station with me, and we got it tagged, brought it back down, and he left and went back out around the area that Braden had been hunting. So Rick calls me a little later, says, "Hey, you down at the lodge?" "Yeah." "Oh, I want to come down and check the deer out, So, "Yeah, I'm down here." So in the time that Rick was coming down, Braden texted me from his inReach and said, "Buck down." So I looked at where it was. It was only 4 or 5 miles from here, So Rick got here. I said, "Let's go out and help Braden, So,
that's cool.
So we went out and we found their truck and were able to follow their boot prints up. So Rick and I and Dennis and Braden got to go up there and enjoy, Braden's deer and dragging it out and everything. So it was a good day.
Yeah.
It was a good day.
Yeah, so we've had a good week, and
Roger
shot one.
Beauty. Nice buck.
Yeah, 10 point.
Which day was that? Tuesday?
Wednesday.
That was Wednesday, I think. Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah, that one was
208.
208. Yeah.
Yeah.
9-pointer. That was a nice one.
He had a great hunt. He'll come on and talk about it, though. We don't need to tell that story. We'll let him tell it, because that was a good one too. That was a good tracking job.
Yeah.
But
today we've had 3 misses.
Yeah, 3 different people
in one day. It's like
was there 3 misses today?
Yeah,
3 today.
Yeah,
it's like deja vu all over again, ain't it?
I I saw I was, or before I came over for dinner tonight, I was looking down. We had a picture that went online that had the bucks hanging,
That's a good pick.
And so one of the comments was, well, where's all the clients' deer? Well, first of all, there's no guided hunts this week.
Right.
And second of all, they're all American plans. Second of all, there's been quite a few client deer.
Yeah.
And there's been quite a few client misses and quite a few client hits and no recovery. So, I think everyone's having a great time, and everyone's in the deer. It's just that, it doesn't always.
You can't pull the trigger for people. I always tell people that you can't pull the trigger for them. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And
we all, every one of us misses. We all have mess ups, and everyone does. And it just so happened things worked out this week where, a few of us got some deer, and the timing was good, and it was a good week, so we ended up getting a game pole picture. But the clients have definitely been into the deer this year.
I think that people don't understand also that the team doesn't get to hunt that much, right? So it all piles up at the end because they're not guiding.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So they only had a week.
Right. Roger just got done guiding last week. He guided. So he had this week.
Right.
So they all hunting week.
And the other misconception is, I can't speak for everyone else, but I do have a pretty strong feeling, because I know the guys that are here guiding pretty darn well, is I am going to bring my client to the best spots that I know.
They do.
The same places that I hunt is where the clients go hunt, because I want my client to get a deer as bad as I want a deer for myself, but really maybe worse, because I can live with. I've had enough deer seasons where I don't get a deer, but you're always trying your hardest. So I see, and I know it's really rare, but I'll see comments sometimes, like that, like that's almost inferring like the guys are going out killing deer on the clients, and it's not like that, because I know how hard everyone works to try to put their clients on deer.
So don't be that guy, right? Don't be that guy that makes them comments.
Yeah.
So, everybody's working hard to get the best chances, and even the people here that are on the American plan, we give them places to go. We know there's deer. It's just up to them to get them. We can't control any of that.
Let's talk about just the deer season in general.
Let's talk about this morning. My grandson got his deer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Finally.
That's awesome.
I took him, he gave one, already probably talked about that. He gave one a haircut on Youth Day, and then his other grandfather and I have both been taking him when we can. He gets his school, he's homeschooled, he gets his schoolwork done. And I had taken him, last week. I'd taken him a day, and then I took him Tuesday this week, and he missed one on Tuesday. It wasn't much of a shot. We was tracking a pretty nice buck, and this other deer I found out later. I don't know if it was a spike or a doe. I thought once when it jumped, I thought I could see something there, but whatever it was, it didn't matter because he's got a doe permit too. But anyways, it bounded, and I stopped it, and he was mostly hidden, but there was like an aisleway to his face and his neck. It wasn't a very wide one. He's about 50 yards. So he must have hit something or whatever, because he's a good shot. But he missed that one. He shoots and he goes, "Papa, I think I got it." But I could see it bounding away, and I'm like, "No, I don't think so, honey. I don't think you hit that." I said, "Where'd you aim?" He goes, "At the neck." I go, "No, you definitely didn't get it."
We would know.
Yeah. So, anyways, so yesterday, today he couldn't go. He might have gone with his other grandfather because they have Thanksgiving dinner in the afternoon, I guess, or something. But anyways, this morning he went with his other grandfather there, and he shot his first deer. doe. And they was walking and come up over a knoll and was down there, and he threw the gun up and shot it 80 yards, dropped it right in her tracks at 80 yards.
That's awesome.
Offhand with his,
Nice.
No
with
shit.
his pump gun and his skin of peep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he's pretty happy.
That was a great picture too.
Yeah.
Yeah. it
Nice
was.
looking. You got to put that one on the podcast thumbnail.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, it just seems like a really good year all around. I mean, there's a lot of big bucks, and I was thinking about Jason's buck, Jason Netto,
yeah.
just a awesome looking buck.
Yeah. One of the young fellows
rack.
from town. I call them the young bucks. They were all kids. They were all my son's age. Yeah.
Young fellow, he's what, 35, 38?
I think he's probably, he's 38 because that's what, he might be 39. The young fellas, yeah.
Beautiful buck.
Yeah. Probably, I'm sure it's going to be the biggest rack buck taken around here this year.
Yeah, tough to beat that one. It was a good one.
I mean, Rick's is too, but this one's
More non-typical, how to drop on it, I think.
it's got about an 8-inch spike coming out of the burr, kind of an odd point. It's really unique, but
Unicorn.
and it's wide.
Yeah.
It's
Rick's
a
was
nice-
just a really nice typical.
beautifully even. Rick's is and heavy.
Yeah.
So I'll get the tape on.
Oh,
both
his
of them.
nephew, too.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big rack.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God, that 8-pointer.
Yeah.
Huge, tall.
That was another one that was on the
Josh.
pole there when we took the picture. Yeah,
That's right,
Josh Tripp.
Josh.
Yeah.
Right. Rick took his nephew there out and got him on a track, and they went together for a while, and 4 or 5 hours, and they jumped it a few times, and Rick said, "You're going to do better by yourself, so go ahead, you go on it." And
Yeah, he went
he
and got the truck.
He ended up shooting it.
Nice. That was like probably a mid-140s rack. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
big, typical, nice.
Yeah, beauty.
Nice buck, especially for around here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was 201,
So
right? Yeah, 201.
200 on the money, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it was. And Matt shot a 200-pounder. That's no surprise, though.
Yeah.
He always lays one down. But I mean, you know, we kind of did it last year too. We thought it was going to be one of those years with a lot of deer, and we didn't have the conditions.
Right.
Last year it was just tough hunting the whole season. But you know, man, once we got some snow, there's a lot of deer that went
Yeah.
down
Levels the playing field a little bit for us.
for sure.
Yeah, I think the tagging, I should have looked today. I was gassing up. I didn't look, but I know, I think it was over the weekend when I looked. There was a few not on there yet. I think it was like 140 something.
Wow.
I think probably are going to be pushing 200 this year. And it hasn't been that way I don't think they've tagged 200 here in town since back in the 90s.
Is that right? Wow.
Maybe 2000s, early
That doesn't surprise me. It's.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's actually been difficult to track the amount of 2.5-year-old, 3.5-year-old, and big does. For me, being an Adirondacker guy, I'm on a good buck, and then I'm like, I don't think this is a good buck, because then I see a big track, and I'm like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm still after 4 years of coming here. But
Yeah.
this year it's been really difficult because I'm on good. I think what is a good buck, you know, 180, 200 pounder, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of them. So you get into that barnyard, and then there's even more does, and I'm like, holy cow! In the big woods, I've never seen it like that in my lifetime. Where
Yeah.
I've been hunting the big woods now 16 years, and in my time I've never seen deer like this.
Yeah.
You know, so
I walked about a 5-6 mile loop this morning and probably crossed at least 6 or 7 tracks like that, you know, that
Yeah.
were over 2.5, but not what I was looking for,
Same.
and made in the night. Not that ain't counting the ones that were made like the night before and all of that.
yeah, it's shocking to me.
Yeah,
I never thought I'd say this, but I almost hope for a mild winter.
yeah,
Just because if we get another one,
Holy
I think
cow.
next year is going to be
yeah,
really something with the big bucks.
yeah.
But you know, it changes quick. We get one harsh winter, and it's going to wipe
gonna-
out all of
yeah.
our gains.
Well, I don't think it's going to be as bad now because of the coyote situation. You know, they can take a lot of winter as long as they're not being pestered all winter.
That's another thing I noticed. You guys have done a stellar job. I've seen 3 coyote tracks in a week.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The guys from
Unbelievable.
The guys here from Western New York said the same thing. They said you can't leave a deer in the woods overnight. It's going to be gone. Coyote tracks everywhere.
No way.
I've seen a few. The ones I've been seeing are like a long way from town, and it's not like a lot, but I see, one wandering here and there. But mostly what I've noticed is most of what I've seen is just like pup tracks because the pups have spread out and stuff. Very few big coyote tracks.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Won't be long now. You'll be after those.
Won't be long.
Good.
Yeah.
That's made a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, well, anyways, we got one day left and this week, and then we're going into the muzzleloader season. That's what I've been waiting on anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. They lighten up. They're easier to drag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be available.
They don't go as far.
Yeah. I've only hunted 4 days on my own the whole season.
Is that it?
That's it. 4 days. I hunted. I guided the first 2 weeks. I only hunted that one day on my own. When I see that one, I flubbed on because I took a day off, took my grandson, then had Jason filming. Then this week, I took the guy that won the 100th podcast.
Didn't he shoot the deer yesterday?
Yeah. Shout out to Chip Martin. He came. He won the. He was the 100th email for the 100th podcast, and so he brought his brother and his son with him, and I took him out Monday, and we came pretty close. We was in the game all day. We saw a buck and 2 does that day, and they've been hunting on their own. And yesterday he shot. I think it's a 7-pointer.
Yeah,
It's got a broken tine, some broken tine or something on
170 something or 180.
178.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice buck.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And, yeah. So, lost my train of thought.
I guess you did.
You keep spinning your finger around like you got
I didn't do anything. I did that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know. Joe's
sitting here over here. Wrap that shit up.
Joe's wanting to wrap it up, I guess.
Well,
yeah.
My drink's empty.
Yeah, all right. I got to get my beauty rest too. So I'll get out. Tomorrow will be my 5th day by myself.
Yeah. So so I guided Steve the last 2 years, and we never had snow. So he always came the first week. And so he came this year the 4th week because he wanted snow, and he's had great conditions all week. So I went with him Wednesday afternoon, and then we went today. We had a real nice day today. I mean, the deer didn't move much at all today, so there wasn't much for fresh tracks, but I felt like we were right in the middle of them all day.
Yeah.
And we're going to go again tomorrow and give it a shot on the last day. So.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. All right, then. Let's get some sleep. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
Till next time, good luck on the trail.
Hey, guys, Joe here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Lake Parlin Lodge. We're a 4-season lodge located just south of Jackman. We've got cabins, lodge rooms, mini lodge. We're a big snowmobile destination in the winter, full restaurant, bar, all the amenities that you need for your trip. Open obviously through the summer, right on the lake. Kayaks, canoes, all included with the cabin. We also do a lot of weddings, so if you're looking for a destination wedding, we can do a wedding up to 200 people. And, of course, we've got our hunting season, moose season, deer season. So check us out. We're at lakeparlinlodge.com.
Hi, everyone. This is Big Woods Bucks team member Mark Sheeran. A lot of you know that I've been working with addicts and alcoholics now for the last 32 years. And one of the things that we just developed, which is very exciting, is the Freedom Model online program. And this program makes it so that you can learn the entire Freedom Model curriculum, all 470 pages of it, through pre-recorded video tutorials that myself and Michelle Dunbar, the other co-author of the Freedom Model, built for you. So you'll be able to learn the entire curriculum, how to get over an addiction without AA meetings, without rehab, without endless therapies, without recovery, and you can move on from this problem for good. If you want more information about this, go to online.thefreedommodel.org. That's online.thefreedommodel.org, or call 888-424-2626. And if you want that program for 50% off, use code BWB22. That's BWB22. So go to that address, hit the Enroll Now button, use that coupon code, and you'll have a program for the rest of your life. You can use it anytime you want. You'll get all updates. It's a one-time fee, and it's very affordable. And you'll get it for 50% off. BWB22. All right, everybody. Take care.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Till next time, good luck on the trail.